All right, everybody. So we're here again. I'm gonna roll the dice. Let's hope it all works out in my favor. Biden signs a bill ending COVID-19 national emergency. So I told everybody, once the Republicans take the House, it's over. It's done. It's over, right? Whatever semblance of anything we had going on, done. Now I know Democrats, during their time in power, very, very, very underwhelming. Let's just put it that way. They're basically garbage. But at least they kept the we believe in science aspect. At least a little bit, right? But then the Republicans win the House, and science is thrown out the window. Joe Biden is granting 30-year oil drilling deals. And now COVID-19, it's over. It's done. Why? Because science. This is one of the things that really, to me, as someone who, I consider myself a left-winger. I do. As much as I consider left-wingers to be stupid, I still consider I guess, right? But science. What is science? You often walk around, I don't know, maybe you don't, but I do. I walk around random neighborhoods and you see these little fucking yard signs, in this house, we believe that science is real. You ever see this shit? Liberals are Trump and the MAGAs, they don't even believe in science and climate change, right? You see all this fucking hand wringing and the fucking science, this, trust the science. And then as soon as it comes to COVID, science, what's that? Right? Most Americans, they genuinely don't believe in viruses. Now, they might think that they're real, but again, actions speak louder than words, right? Right, you can say, oh yeah, a virus is real, and then your behavior, you behave as if, oh, I'm never going to get it. Don't worry, I'm never going to get it. I know it's real, but it's a thing that happens to other people. A majority of Democrats refused the latest round of vaccines. The majority of Americans, 82% of Americans actually, refused. They saw a free, effective, safe vaccine and said no. It was free. It was effective. It prevents death. And they said no. 82% of Americans said free, life-saving medical treatment at no cost. It's free. They looked at it. They said no. Why? Because Americans are fucking stupid. And so Republicans are basically forcing Joe Biden to end the declaration of a national emergency here. Now, again, Joe Biden probably would have done this on his own anyway. It might have lasted a couple more months. But Joe Biden's COVID task force, all of that shit, Health and Human Services Director, they're all people that are in on the take. They profit when people don't believe that the virus is real. They're all making money on this conspiracy theory that has overtaken all of American life, that viruses aren't real. They're not real. There's no such thing as viruses. The germ theory of disease? What's that? I've never heard of it. Sorry. You believe in viruses? Well. And, let's read a little bit more of the details here, but I'm just using this to talk about stupid fucking Americans and COVID, because this is something I get, every time I talk about COVID, I get fucking people in my audience that are fucking, I don't even know how you could be a member of my audience in some capacity and not believe COVID is real, I think. But again, that's the thing about these conspiracies. QAnon is prevalent. What is QAnon? Right? Fundamentally, there's a secret operative in the government. There's no evidence for it, right? And he's going to take down the swamp, right? There's no evidence. In fact, all the evidence points in the opposite direction, but they believe it anyway. So again, that's the same behavior 82% of Americans have and exhibit toward COVID. Right? We've been told that there's a pandemic, but secretly, they don't want you to know, even though 82% of Americans believe this, it's still a secret that it's actually all made up. Woo! For the viewers at home there, that was sarcasm. It's actually not made up. If you go outside without a mask on, you can get infected and die, especially 82% of Americans unvaccinated, right? So that's not so good. But, you know, life has got to go on. These are things that people tell you. Life has got to go on. We can't all stay inside forever. Well, first of all, no one even tried staying inside. In the United States of America, only like 3 or 4 states even had a semblance of a lockdown. A semblance. By the way, the phraseology of lockdown, right? Like the idea that like, it's like, you know, you ever watch The Purge, that like metal fucking bars like came down on the windows, that anyone was locked down. It was an optional opt-in, opt-out quarantine. Stay at home, but you can leave your house whenever you want. And only 3 or 4 states did that, right? Most of the country didn't even do any of that shit. But 3 or 4 states did an optional quarantine. You can either stay at home or leave the house. That both of them are completely acceptable. And people are like, the lockdowns! Ah! Right? I mean, again, living through this pandemic here has really taught me that America is unsalvageable. This is my takeaway. You know, I view COVID to be the biggest overarching story of my lifetime. And the fundamental lesson that I've learned here is that Americans are lazy. Americans are stupid. They're selfish. And on a personal level, I hate them. That is what my takeaway from the COVID-19 pandemic is. You can say that it's, maybe you could say it's too harsh. Maybe you could say, well, you're going too far in one direction. That's fine. That's fine. I'm willing to be criticized. But my fundamental understanding of America, having lived here, and now we're seeing science thrown out the window, germs, soap. Why do people take a shower in the morning? I have a question here, genuinely. If you asked Americans why they take a shower in the morning, now I know a lot of Americans would say, oh, so I am clean, but they don't actually believe in that. You know, they don't care about cleanliness. They don't care about hygiene. Americans take showers purely and only for virtue signaling. Oh, they don't want people to think that they smell bad. They don't care about hygiene. They don't care about being clean. They don't care about getting dirt or viruses or muck off of their body or sweat or whatever. They don't care about any of that. They care about the virtue signaling of other people recognizing them in a certain way. Because I'm just saying, like, I saw this study came out. I don't know. I always use the word study, but it was like kind of like a survey that said that most people don't even wash their legs in the shower. You see this? Most people don't even wash their legs in the shower. What the fuck? I mean, like, just a quick bend down and rub them, like, that's too much for most people, right? And I firmly believe that people do not take showers or wash their hands for any reason, on average, right? Now, again, there's the weirdos like us that believe in germs. There was a poll that came out in April of 2020, when this whole thing started, that said that half of Republicans don't wash their hands. Half of Republicans don't wash their hands. So to me, my takeaway from all of this is I don't think people actually give a fuck about hygiene. I don't. I really don't. I don't see it. I don't see the proof. I don't see the proof that Americans even believe in germs. I really don't see the proof. And again, like, you can say maybe I've overcorrected. You can say maybe I've gone too far. I think everyone else has gone too far. Because I read the news on a daily basis. on subjects like COVID. Now, even people that do what I do and they do a news show, they don't read COVID news on a daily basis. Why? You don't have to ask them. When I read COVID news on a daily basis, I want to stay up to date on the latest variants and the latest vaccines. There's, news that a new vaccine could be coming relatively soon, so that's great. Now, again, most people aren't going to take it because they're fucking stupid. But, again, to me, this is one of those fundamental litmus test stories. And a litmus test is if, you can use this story and how people react to it to judge them on other issues, abstractly. Like, if someone, for example, doesn't believe germs are real, probably also don't believe in climate change, right? So, I use this as a litmus test. The way you behave when it comes to COVID, I will judge you for the rest of your life and the rest of my life. I don't know what else to tell you about it. If that offends you, feel free to be offended. That's fine. But I mean, we really live in a bizarro world where asking someone to wear a mask for 15 minutes at the grocery store is like people treat it like you're asking them to clean up a fucking public bathroom at a kindergarten class, like people ask it like you're asking them to go through the trenches in the Great War, to wear a mask at the grocery store. I don't know, man. The only thing I can take away from this is that Americans are fundamentally too dumb to live. Now, I just want to say this. I don't have kids. To be honest with you, I don't have any reason to strive for a better world. I also don't have any faith that there will be a better world because, to be honest with you, it does require a little bit of religious kind of mindset to even think that there's a way out of this fucking disaster. I can imagine what we would need to do as a country to get this country back on track, but I know that it will never happen. And I also, again, being childless, I don't have a reason to care about the outcome. To be honest, I mean, I'm just letting you know where my cards are, and you can make your own decision based on that information. But it's I've seen enough, those meme tweets on the election night. We've all seen them. I've seen enough on the American experiment to know I'm not interested. I'm not leaving the house. I'm not going to social gatherings. I'm just not interested. I'm really not. I don't know what to tell you. I can play the game if I'm forced, let's say I'm forced to go to the doctor or something. I can play the game. I can put on a smile. I can pretend to blend in. But to be honest with you, I have given up on America. I think this story, the COVID thing, all of it, you expect me to believe Americans are going to have solidarity on any issue when they're too fucking, they act like babies when you ask them to wear a mask at the grocery store for 10 minutes. Americans are going to defend me from a genocide from the Republican Party, and they're too fucking babyish to put a mask on. Americans are going to somehow stop the abuse of workers and the advent of child labor that's going on in a lot of these Republican states. But when you ask them to wear a mask, they cry and kick and scream. Americans are going to stand up to fascism, but you ask them to wear a mask during a deadly pandemic, can't do it. I don't know, man. I just don't see it happening. Now, I don't know. Maybe I'm giving up too soon. It's possible. I don't see it happening. So I say this. I'm sitting back and I'm assessing on this whole America thing, right? Whatever happens, I don't care. America collapses, I don't give a fuck. America brings it back, all right, that benefits me, so I'm in. But to be honest with you, I don't think that anything in this country is going to improve anytime soon. I could be wrong. You know, who knows? 10 years from now, we might have like President AOC and she's actually fixing shit. Who fucking knows? But really, is that the best fantasy scenario we can think of? Is a politician coming to like tweak the system around the edges a little bit? You know, is America like the last time America even tried to do something was 2020 when we had a lot of protests going on around the whole country. What did we get for that? We got tripled police funding. Great. So think about it, right? Think about how dangerous it was in 2020 and 2021 to do anything against the government, protesting, to do any demonstrations. Think about how dangerous it was, and think about how many millions of people recognized that danger and decided, I'm going to do it anyway. And what did we get? We got more money for cops. That's what we got, right? Like, so I'm thinking to myself, okay, so either you need to have millions of people protest in a way more targeted way, which I don't think is possible. How are you going to coordinate millions of people doing so? I don't think that's possible. Or that's just the best we can do. The best we can do is erupt for 6 months, and then that sets us back in every way. And that's it. I don't know. I don't know. Because imagine a higher percentage. Okay, what would need to happen for America to fix its shit? You'd need to have mass protests around the country. How? How can you get more people to protest for an issue that happened than in 2020? What issue would that be? And how would you get them all to agree? I don't know. But again, I don't expect any of that because Americans are they freak the fuck out and cry like babies when you ask them to wear a mask at the grocery store. Thousands of people dead every week. But wearing a mask at the grocery store, it's too much. It's too much. So I just want to say this, man. Maybe I overreact. It's possible. I've been known to overreact at certain times. But I personally, I have no hope for the future. And just, to be completely honest with you, I don't care about the future. I don't give a fuck. I'm not doing this show to try to steer the ship in any good direction. I'm not doing this show in a way to inspire people to go out and change the world. Because honestly, that's a waste of your fucking time. I'm doing this show to sit back and to make other people understand that, yes, the world is fucking crazy. It is true. I know it's like an episode of Twilight Zone when you leave the house, right? It's like you're living in a fucking bizarro world, So I'm here to provide a little bit of comfort in that realm. Yes, everyone has lost their damn mind, right? And then also, I'm just here to laugh and just share what the fuck's happening here. What the fuck is happening here? Americans gave up on a virus because wearing a mask is too hard? And you expect them to fight out against fascism? You expect Americans to do anything? I mean, look at the stripping away of abortion rights. No one cares. There were protests all across the country, but they were peaceful protests. And so you didn't hear anything about them because no one cares. That's what they remember. One of the greatest conspiracy theories that they teach you in America is the peaceful protest. Think about this. I mean, think about this. Americans are so fucking stupid that the oppressor tells them that a peaceful protest is the only way to get change, and then they believe them. and then they protest peacefully, and then nothing happens. Americans are so stupid that they believe in the concept of a peaceful protest. Like, talk about 1984. A peaceful protest. Like, do you remember that shit in 2020? Everyone was, I have to denounce the violence. We need peace. I support people's right to peacefully protest. Oh, yes. Oh, I don't want to sound like I... Remember, everyone on the internet was like, oh, I don't support I just need a peaceful protest. Now, I'm not saying a non-peaceful protest works, because that doesn't work either, just to be honest. But a peaceful protest is just dumb. Like, that's just dumb. Like, with a non-peaceful protest, let's say you're blocking a major road of commerce, right? Let's say you're not allowing, certain members of Congress or city council to get to their office, or let's say, you do like a targeted strike of some kind, unionized garbage workers decide, let's stop picking up. Like, that can work for short-term and targeted goals. That's a great thing. And they don't even need to be violent. Because that's the thing. We live in this weird Venn diagram where the opposite of a peaceful protest is like you're burning down a fucking orphanage or something. And that's like, what the fuck? Like, the idea that there's no nuance there is so crazy. But again, like, I don't know, man. Like, Americans are just lazy. They're stupid and they're dumb. And they're just fucking, all they care about is their shiny toys. And they've got ADHD out the whim wham. Americans can't focus on a single goddamn issue. I mean, think about it. What if Democrats have rallied their base? Think about it. The right's got abortion and the gays, right? What is the Democrats, what have they done to rally their base? Gun violence? They can't even get that fucking shit in. Even when they had control of the government last fucking, cycle, they couldn't get any shit in there that was actually meaningful. Right? Abortion. I mean, fucking Roe v. Wade and Planned Parenthood v. Casey got overturned, and the Republicans won the House, right? So, think about it. What the fuck? The Republicans strip away rights from 50% of the population, and then they win the House of Representatives. I know that, like, we live in this world where it's like, oh, well, it was gonna be a red wave election, so when you really think about it, it was good that the Republicans only won. But have you heard this conspiracy theory from people? I've heard it. Well, the Republicans were supposed to win a lot more, so when you think about it, Roe-vember was a success because no, they won. It doesn't matter how much they win by. It's a binary. Either they win or they lose, and they won. Like, this idea that, like, Democrats celebrate failure to such a fucking degree is just, ugh. But again, Americans are fucking stupid. And to me, right, the glue that holds my fundamental understanding of America together is COVID. If one of these days, randomly, like, 45, 50, 60% of the country decided we need to reinstate a national mask mandate, then maybe I'd start to have hope in America. Again, maybe. But at this point, I don't. I don't think that that'll ever happen. I don't think America will ever do what's required to fix this country. So either that leaves you with sit back and watch or leave. And currently, I'm sitting back and I'm watching. I might leave later. That remains to be seen. I'm currently at the get the foldable lawn chair, unfold that shit on the front lawn, get my sunglasses, and watch the show. That's where I'm at currently. So, but there you go. COVID is over, folks. Scientific research, and fuck that shit. I got triggered because someone asked me to wear a mask 2.5 years ago for 5 minutes. So, fuck it. Science out the window. Congrats, America. We're doing really great here.